We begin with the latest on the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Maduro arrived in New York yesterday after a U.S. military operation. The Trump administration described it as necessary to stem the flow of dangerous drugs. He is now facing federal charges of narco-terrorism. Here's ABC's Olivia Rubin with the details.
Ousted Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro arrived in New York aboard a government plane that touched down hours after he and his wife surrendered to U.S. Special Forces this weekend in Caracas. Maduro, his wife, and 4 others are charged with narco-terrorism conspiracy, conspiracy to import cocaine, and possession of machine guns. The U.S. federal indictment said Maduro, quote, is at the forefront of a violent, corrupt, 25-year conspiracy to flood the United States with cocaine. Maduro has previously denied involvement with drug trafficking, accusing the U.S. of using the war on drugs as a bid to remove him and seize Venezuela's oil reserves. On NBC's Meet the Press, Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying,
"We are at war against drug trafficking organizations. It's not a war against Venezuela."
But House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries pushing back.
This was not simply a counter-narcotics operation. It was an act of war.
According to a joint statement from the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the DEA, the operation to capture and bring Maduro to the U.S. took months of planning with the Department of Defense. The Trump administration sharing this video of Maduro as he arrived at the DEA office in New York Saturday night, where he was processed before being taken to the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. The U.S. has received some support for the capture of Maduro, including from some refugees who fled Venezuela.
I saw a lot of people die in the street. It's very hard.
But there have been some international protests. In Caracas, Maduro supporters calling for his release, and in Paris, crowds burning the American flag. Olivia Rubin, ABC News, outside the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn.
And with Maduro's awaiting trial, Venezuela's future remains unclear. The Trump administration claimed the U.S. will be running Venezuela until there's a power transition, but provided little explanation about what that would mean. Secretary of State Marco Rubio doubled down, saying today the U.S. will be running the direction of Venezuela.
What's going to happen here is that we have a quarantine on their oil. That means their economy will not be able to move forward until the conditions that are in the national interest of the United States and the interest of the Venezuelan people are met. And that's what we intend to do.
The president didn't rule out sending U.S. troops. In a phone interview with The Atlantic, President Trump issued a threat to Venezuela's interim president, Delcy Rodriguez, who is Maduro's vice president. Trump saying, quote, if she doesn't do what's right, she is going to pay a very big price, probably bigger than Maduro.